Today's stream is very simple. I am going to be playing not a game, but an AI. That AI is Novel AI or ChatGPT, whichever one. I'm going to use a combination of the two because I think it'll be fun. But the idea of that is using that to write an SCP. I'm assuming you know what an SCP is. If you don't know, I can explain it to you real quick. We are trying to create an abomination using AI technology, which is also what the SCP has built up against and possibly uses to help fight against other SCPs. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I recently went on down the rabbit hole of watching SCP videos. And yeah, because of that, I really want to not only write one, which I'm working on writing an SCP, but I also wanted to do one on stream because I think it'd be fun to use Chat Idea and then ChatGPT and then Novel AI because I've been seeing a bunch of people using them for stuff, and I made one video with ChatGPT so far, and it was about Riz. God will protect you from the monster I create. It's not that scary. It's more of a funny little tomfoolery edition. To start off our little adventure into the kooky wacky spoopy, we are going to just quickly review the rules for an SCP, because if you're watching this video or if you're watching the stream, you may not know, because you might know what the SCP is, but you may not know the rules and dictations for writing one, which I have already looked at briefly, but it doesn't hurt to go over it again. Then we're going to get into the fun of it with some different ideas. And I just realized, I had a notes tab open with some different ideas already written down, but I don't think it got saved. Well, we're going to have to figure out some different ideas. Rule 0. Yeah, putting down the hard law. Arguments: you may dispute the actions and opinions of anyone, including staff, as long as you do it in a calm, mature, and civil way. So no threats of violence. You may vote on any article on the site for any reason you like, as long as your reasoning is based solely on the context of the article. Upvoting your own article. You can upvote or even downvote your articles as you like. I could just downvote my own SCP. Just be like, yeah, this isn't good. Just downvote, and make sure no one ever sees this again. You may not copy any portion of someone else's writing to use as your own without proper attribution. Borrowing narrative or characters' content from other works is generally fine so long as there is no blatant or malicious attempt to deceive the reader. Just images included in your article must follow the rules of our image use policy. We're creating abominations beyond the unknown. I don't think there are pictures of what we're about to create. Behavior that is indistinguishable from trolling. When it comes to trolling, staff takes an "if it looks like a duck" approach. Okay. You can tell this is made by people that are online because they have language that would not be in it. I'm not banned. I don't think actually, do I even have an account for SCP? I do not. Nope. So we're going to have to also create an account for the SCP. Let's hop onto the actual guides. So you want to write an SCP. You're reading How to Write an SCP 2.0. If you're reading this, you're probably a member of the SCP Foundation and want to try your hand at an article. This page is to help point you in the right direction when getting started. Read it carefully, don't skim it. After you're finished, read it again because you're a human being, right? And you'll have missed stuff. I could be an eldritch horror beyond your imagination. How rude of you to assume. Before you start, some things to consider. In general, successful SCP articles have most or all of the following components: an interesting idea, reasonable containment procedures, a clear description. These are necessary for a good SCP. An SCP should immediately draw the reader in. They can't be muddled under a lot of exposition. Try to get a clear idea of what your SCP does before starting. Some first SCPs do wonderfully because their authors either had an instant understanding of what and how to write, which is rare, or because they took their time getting their bearings and learning the lay of the land. Really, the best possible piece of advice that any of us can give is to be patient. Sit back and lurk. We've got all kinds of articles. Spend some time to get an idea on how the site works, see what's good and what's bad, what's highest rated and what gets downvoted, learn what kinds of things people look for in an article. You'll be better equipped to succeed in your writing. This is an SCP we're writing as a more or less joke because we're using AI. But I mean, there are a bunch of SCPs that are joke SCPs, and I have by no means read every single SMP or every single tale. I do not have infinite time, but the SCPs that I have read either rely on being funny or being actually terrifying, like ideas of the unknown. I don't know who that person was. They just invaded my home. So we're going to try go towards more the whatever happens route. And I'm not going to immediately post this because I think that would be a little redundant, because it is, after all, going to be written by AIs and our own input. But I think there is some ideas that obviously I do want to workshop, because I do also consider myself an actual writer. So I don't want to just have it be thrown at a wall and hope it sticks. I do actually want to put work into it. But part of the fun of this is that we are using an AI. So while it may get downvoted or bad, I also maybe should read to see if they have any rules against using AI. Maybe I might get on some forums. But until then, we're going to make this a YouTube video. So if it pops off, we'll find out, because people will be like, you can't use AI. I'm going to be like, okay, I just didn't post it. The idea is to solve your story. Whether it concerns a tale or as an SCP, a good idea will carry you far and help you succeed. Here are a few tips to help you conjure on of those... That should be one. Conjure one of those brilliant concepts for your article. If you want to write a creepy article, think of what scares you. Heights. I'm scared of heights. If you want to write a weird article, think out of the box. The stranger or more original your article is, the better it'll stand out from the crowd. This is instinctively what I wanted to go for, because while writing horror is great, the SCP is already floundering in horror ideas, good and bad. And I think a weird idea is more likely going to stand out better, or be a better draw for an AI to write up, because inherently AI writes funny things. Now, that's not to say it can't write horror, but I think it will be better for our instances in this case here. If none of the above apply, try to find another emotion or reaction you want to evoke from your reader. Maybe you want the reader to feel sad or amused or intrigued, so find a way to accomplish that. If you do find an existing article with a similar idea to yours, see if you can put a novel spin on your article to set it apart. Act as if every SCP will be the first that someone will read. That means do not put too much in there that requires knowledge or anything else on the site. You are, of course, free to link to other articles on the site, but do so at your own risk. Too much of that and people will have no idea what is happening if they haven't read the other material. Get a clear idea of your core concept before you start writing. That's mainly what we're going to be doing today. Hopefully, we'll actually get to writing, but we're going to use AI and have fun with that. Getting a clear idea. Yep. This will help you narrow down what details you include and which you leave out. Leaving out the right details can add mystery to the article. Yeah, that's something that I've seen with SCPs and others, where people just put too much detail in and ruin the mystique. Dangerous does not always equal interesting. An item that has the ability to instantly liquefy bone in a 100-mile radius is dangerous, yes, but unless you can write it in an interesting way, people won't like it. Actually, here's an idea. Let's take that. Let's go over here and, oops. Let's give it an idea and let's see what it has. Okay, so item number SCP XXXX, object class Keter. Special containment procedures XXS is to be contained within a standard anomalous item containment locker at site blank. Access to SCP XXXX is restricted to level 4 personnel only and is and all contact with SCP-XXXX must be done through remote manipulation devices. Due to the highly dangerous nature of SCP-XXXX, all personnel within the 100-mile radius of the item's containment must wear protective suits and be scanned for any sign of bone liquefaction. In the event of a breach, all personnel within the affected area must evacuate immediately, and a team of specialized hazmat personnel must be deployed to contain the situation. Description: SCP-XXX is a small, spherical. Why can't I say that word? Spherical. Thank you. Object approximately 10 centimeters in diameter. What is that? It's like that big. With a shiny metallic surface. The object appears to be composed of an unknown metal and is impervious to all forms of physical damage. SCP-XXXX anomalous properties manifest when it comes into contact with any living tissue, specifically bone. Okay, so the AI wrote it that it manifests it when it comes into contact with any living tissue, specifically bone. Okay, so that it warped it a little bit from the instantly liquefied bone in a 100-mile radius. It kind of took that out of there. It also made it, 100 feet? Oh, no, it is 100. Wait. When SCP-XXX comes into contact with bone, it instantly begins to liquefy the affected area, resulting in the complete disintegration of the bone within seconds. The effect is instantaneous and permanent and appears to affect all forms of bone regardless of size or density. The liquefaction process is accompanied by a loud, high-pitched screeching sound which has been observed to cause severe auditory damage in unprotected individuals. Okay, so that seems very well done already. I'm liking where it's going. It has some tweaks, obviously, but that just shows the AI power. I just put in a single line, an item that has the ability to instantly liquefy bone in a 100-mile radius, and it's already made an SCP that's more or less unstandard for other SCPs that people have spent days, if not months, writing. Terrifying. All right. SCP's excess radius of effects extends to approximately 100 miles, making it extremely hazardous in any populated areas. It is unknown how SCP-XXX came into existence or how it was originally discovered. Addendum Incident Report XXX-01 on blank blank 2000. Okay, containment breach occurred within SCP-XXX containment chamber, resulting in an activation of its anomalous properties. The radius of effect extended to the nearby city of blank, resulting in the liquefaction of bone in all living organisms within the area. Yeah. So they figured out So when you look at it as a strictly SCP, it's well written. It's not exactly, I guess, terrifying. Too terrifying. I mean, it is terrifying, but is it really that terrifying to you guys, chat? Foundation response teams were dispatched immediately, and a quarantine zone was established around the affected area. Over blank blank casualties were reported, and the cleanup operation took over blank months to complete. All surviving individuals within the affected area were given Class B and anesthetics to prevent any long-term psychological trauma. Following incident XXX-01, all personnel assigned to SCP-XXX containment have been reminded of the extreme danger posed by the object, and all containment procedures have been revised to ensure that a similar incident does not occur again in the future. What do you like about the response? Well done. ChatGPT has written a almost spot-on SCP right off the bat, off of that single line from this. All right, find a hook. A hook is something that immediately draws the readers in. SCPs that are merely anomalous things that do anomalous things are rarely successful. What that something is depends largely on you, but make sure it's effective and included in as early on in the article as you can. If you leave it out until the end, it isn't really a hook. Yeah, which is what this did really well. It did special containment, or the containment procedure, which is more or less on par. The description, short to the point, down to the very bone. Separate critique you get, nobody is obliged to give you feedback once you've posted on the main wiki, and they don't need to pull their punches. If you sincerely think you are being treated unfairly, contact a moderator. Do not engage in a running shouting match. Gore for the sake of gore is stupid. If your article has nothing good on besides buckets and buckets of end trials, logistically flung at the reader. Oh, linguistically, not logistically. How would you let's figure out the logistics for flinging buckets and buckets of entrails at the readers of this. We're going to just have a bucket that's over your computer, and when you get to a certain part of the page, it's going to just fling them at you. Real ones, of course, not fake. We're about authenticity here at the SCP Foundation. Containment of an object should be clear and logical, not flourish. No flourish, no extraneous resources. Every SCP should be provided with what it needs, no more, no less. This means that if the containment of your SCP is not dependent on something in the containment procedure, it doesn't belong there. A good example are the dimensions of the cell, locker, briefcase, jockstrap. What if the liquefying bone hazard has to that I wonder how much that will save. Oh, great. Regenerate responses. Oh, no. Wait, did my internet go out? Wait, maybe my internet went out. Maybe that's why it's not working. Okay, so something interesting. By adding that has to be contained in a jockstrap, it went through an elucid class already. Safe class containment locker at site. Access to SCP XXS restricted to level 3 personnel. Okay, went to level 3 as well. And above, and all personnel handling SCP must be wearing protective gear, including a reinforced jockstrap and gloves made of bone-resistant materials. What's a bone-resistant material? Within a reinforced jockstrap made of a proprietary blend of Kevlar and carbon fiber, lined with a layer of titanium mesh. The jockstrap is to be kept in a sealed, airtight container made of non-organic materials. SCP is highly effective and can liquefy bone matters within seconds of activation. It resembles a miniature flashlight. When activated, SCP-XXXX emits a low-frequency pulse that has the ability to instantly liquefy bone all within a 100-mile radius, including the bones of living beings and inanimate objects. So you mean corpses? That is terrifying. Bone material is highly unstable and will rapidly decompose into a gelatinous substance. Was recovered in a raid on an underground laboratory operated by an unknown group of individuals. The exact origin and purpose of SCP-XXX is unknown, as is the identity of its creator. Further investigation is ongoing. So, by adding that line, ChatGPT changed the class, changed the level personnel, which I might just not be familiar. Maybe that's because it's elucid. And changed the containment procedure, and also removed the addendum, which was the thing getting out that one time. Okay. And also it was recovered in a raid, whereas last time they don't know what happened to it. So yeah, so two very different but very similar at the same time, both very much SCPs. Let's try AI. Command V. Write an SCP about an item that has the ability to instantly liquefy bone in a 100-mile radius that has to be contained in a jockstrap. Okay, so this one just straight up gives it a name. SCP-2388 is an anomalous object currently classified as an elucid. Containment of SCP-2388 must always stay in an airtight container and monitor from within with a remote camera system at all times. Okay, so far, some slight differences. As an added precaution, once containment has been achieved, any personnel not directly involved in the maintenance or administration are to wear a jockstrap designed for the purpose of containing. This is so both of them, ChatGPT and Novel AI, want you to wear a jockstrap. Not that it's contained in a jockstrap, though it might be contained in a jockstrap. We'll see. The object itself is in a jockstrap. I just didn't read far enough. With the padlock sewn into it in a small metal what? What small metal? Rod inserted through both padlocks. The object was found in blank Russia after the body of a Siberian man who had suffered from chronic illness was discovered with 2 rods protruding from his back. During analysis, researchers found that the rods were composed of bone which had been removed by force without leaving any traces behind. Following this discovery, multiple instances of SCP-2388 have been recovered. See Addendum 2388 Alpha. A single instance can only produce 1 rod per year, and no more than 3 instances can exist on Earth simultaneously. These rods will not grow back if left unattended. SCP-2388 is capable of liquefying any part of the human body except the brain and skull. So it doesn't do exactly what we want it to do at all. It doesn't do the one thing we asked it to do. Novel AI, you're already losing to the chat. The one thing I am thinking with Novel AI is because it always has this down here, this send, it will always keep writing no matter what. So it won't necessarily stop with how ChatGPT just writes it and then we can ask to regenerate the response or send a message to create or add on to it. That's the one thing that I'm thinking will happen is this will just keep going. It is unknown what triggers the production of the substance, but testing has shown that prolonged exposure to light causes it to evaporate, though the process itself takes several months. The liquid produced consists of the same chemical composition as bone, though it is far denser. Any object with a surface area larger than 1 m2 will immediately begin to dissolve after contact. To date, the longest recorded duration of time for an object to remain intact was 24 hours. 1 meter. Is this supposed to be 1 meter too? 1 to 2 meters? Well, you can't see it because my head's obscuring it, but it says 1 to 2 meters? I don't know what 1 m2 is. What type of measurement is that? This record was set by the Foundation during tests involving a large wooden desk. However, due to the nature of the test, details pertaining to the details of this experiment have been classified by order of the O5 Council. So it knows about the O5 Council. It knows vaguely about stuff. It's a lot less like an actual SCP. This one is more written like a current SCP, or the SCPs are meant to be written. The thing that I think about is for the AIs is if I'm using the AI to write it, then the AI will already cause a immediate kind of level of quality that, I mean, considering it's across the board, but if you can just use AI to write an SCP that's bar for bar as good as people that have been doing this for years, then what's the point of new people trying it or people doing it overall? So that's something I was thinking about. But with this idea, which I guarantee someone has already thought of this idea, so it's not necessarily a new idea, but I was thinking about that. Like, as someone that is trying to be a writer and likes the idea of writing in the future, using ChatGPT by and by to write does not seem like a good idea and does not entertain me. I just think it would be a fun idea. I'm going to write my SCP idea that I haven't told you. I'm not going to use ChatGPT or Novel AI to write it. I'm going to submit that, workshop that, and then maybe in a few weeks or a few months, depending on how long this takes, probably be a few weeks, I will then come back and attempt this again with a new understanding and hopefully with an idea of, hey, is this allowed? Or because the other thing is people could just upload a script to the SCP Foundation and never tell them that, oh yeah, I used ChatGPT to write this. And people may or may not be able to be like, see the difference. I would assume people that have been doing it for a long time might be able to tell, especially if it's like a first time author. But veteran authors, I also feel like, why would they do it? But I think it could be a problem for first time authors. So that was an idea for that. But I guess with that's where I'm going to call this stream and call this video. I don't know if or when I'll edit this down. I'll upload the VOD to YouTube at some point in the next week. But I hope you enjoyed. Hope you had a blast. And as always, Godspeed. God bless. Peace.